And so thank you for staying with us. I am Tamara Scott. You're listening to Tamara Scott Live with Truth for Our Time. We are talking with Dr. James Arnold, and I didn't design it this way, but I think it's absolutely perfect. We have just a couple minutes left. Jim, if you could, I know you in the article we're talking about the option game that people can find on your website, drjamesarnold.com, drjamesarnold.com, no dot after doctor. The option game. You have a couple of ideas for reforms for your own immediate action on your Georgia legislature, but these could be copied, and this is why I say I think it's perfect that people could take this little video segment, you can download it, use it, take it to your people in your state and say, what do we need to be doing in our state? How can we do this in our state? And I know in Georgia you've got Terry Sassville, you've got, I think, Meg Norris, you've got the wonderful Tanya Diddy with Concerned Women for America. So you've got some great folks who already understand the dangers of Common Core. I think several other states, when I see the Facebook pages, certainly have a good group of people who are ready to battle this. Give us your 2 steps that you think we ought to be taking to our legislators.
Yeah, I think the first step is to find a legislator with the courage to propose a bill to allow parents the ability to opt their children out of standardized testing without having to go around through or jump through so many hoops. You know, there's a way to do it now, but you're really taking a chance that the principal and the teachers in your school are going to look on the work that your student has done favorably throughout the year, even without the standardized test score. I'd love to see some legislator with their kids in public school who would propose this and let the legislature vote on it. And I think it would tell us a lot about where their loyalties lie. I also, the legislature actually 6 or 7 years ago, decided that all Georgia schools had to choose one of 3 options. One option was called charter, and you understand charter.
Sure.
They're given a couple of freedoms, they call it, from legislative rules in exchange for improving test scores. Well, one of the freedoms they almost always tout is freedom from the teacher pay scale imposed on teachers. I don't know that that's a choice that schools really ought to be taking anyway. But anyway, the second option is called IE squared. It's based on a study commission that Sonny Perdue, former governor, came up with to reform the funding mechanism for public schools. Found out that it was going to cost even more money, so they changed the whole purpose of the commission after the study sort of fell in upon itself, and gave this as an option to public schools, giving them some freedom from some of the restrictions in turn again for improved test scores. And then the third option is called, oh goodness, my memory escapes me. Well, in any event, the effect is we're happy with what we're doing. We're not going to change. If they really wanted to attract schools to one of those 3 options, even charter, give them the opportunity to allow their teachers to teach without having to worry about standardized tests. I have a friend who was the Georgia Middle School Principal of the Year. Her response to all this data-based decision-making stuff was, rather than be based, she thought that legislators and administrators and teachers ought to be values-based and data-influenced. Well, I agree with that 1,000%. I think that's one of the smartest statements I've ever heard from anybody. You make your decisions based on individual people and the values that you have rather than test scores impersonal test scores that really don't mean anything other than this kid tests well and this kid doesn't.
Well, thank you so much. My guest has been Dr. James Arnold. You can find him at drjamesarnold.com. And Jim, I appreciate what you've shared with us today. I also appreciate the writing that you do. I think I'll be popping in from time to time to see what more you have put up, and if there's a subscription list, I want to get on that, because I appreciate the wisdom with which you write and your years of experience. So, folks, we've given you all kinds of tools out there. We've given you the in a nutshell, what's happening in your public school. And how many years have you been in the public school?
Tara, I started in 1974 as a band director, so 39 years when I retired last June.
So there's a wealth of knowledge right there, living in it, and can now talk to us about it and the dangers of it if we don't get Common Core stopped. We have to go. We're out of time. I thank you, Jim, for joining me today. I hope you'll join me again in the future. Ryan Northfield has been my producer. I thank you, Ryan, for that as well. And we've given you information. Now, seriously, you need to be encouraged, never be complacent, and go out and make a difference. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Tamara Scott. You can find an archive at tamarascottlive.com.